Today we're going to be talking about something pretty heavy that I went through and something that I have been fighting the urge of whether to share or not, or I don't know, I think I always knew I wanted to share it. I just didn't know when, but the last few weeks I have felt called to talk about it. I've just been like feeling it in my gut and in my intuition that like I'm ready to share it. I think it'd be healing for me to share it. I think it'd be healing for a lot of people to relate to and hear about it, because I know I certainly could have used a video like this. I looked for videos like this a few months ago when I went through it. So of course I want to give a trigger warning based off of the title of this video. You probably know we're going to be talking about the miscarriage that I went through back in June. Oh my gosh, it's finally a time where I can, even just saying that word out loud, I don't want to just cry and cry about it. It's been a couple of months now, and healing is still something I am working through. I have never felt a pain in my heart, a hole in my heart like I felt during that time. I did record and document my first, I miscarried at 7 weeks, and I was documenting my first trimester. I was gonna like put up a first trimester kind of big vlog once we were gonna announce it. We were gonna wait until the 12 weeks, like a lot of people do, personal choice. We were gonna wait until then, and I was gonna post like a first semester kind of like documentary vlog, just showing my experience and my symptoms. I was kind of doing like weekly check-ins and things like that. So I don't really know how to navigate this video. I was gonna share just like all the footage that I took so you can kind of come along on the journey with me rather than me just sitting here and like going through everything, because it was actually a very wild ride. It was quite an emotional roller coaster how it all happened. I actually ended up miscarrying an hour before we started filming Curvy Connection. Yeah, let me just play the clips for you of my first few weeks after finding out I was pregnant, and I'll check back in after those clips, I guess. Okay, you guys, I am starting my little pregnancy vlog journey, sharing with you guys like the behind the scenes, because we're not going to announce until we hit the 12 weeks, as you guys already know probably from the intro of this video. But today I am 5 weeks and 3 days, and I wanted to do like a little video diary so I can look back on this and like talk about my symptoms and just share the experience with you guys. It is so weird right now to not be like sharing this publicly, just because we share so much, and like, I don't know, it's really weird not to share it and to be like including it in vlogs. And I'm being very careful in vlogs of like what I say, and there's so much I want to say right now every day that I'm just like fighting the urge. So this is going to be my little outlet, and I'm going to share with you guys my symptoms as we get through this first trimester. So here is my Flow app. As you can see, we are currently 5 weeks and 3 days, and it's so crazy. I love the Flow app. Once we hit 6 weeks, it really just like takes on a whole shape here, which is so cool. So we're like 4 days away from this little nug. So I've been keeping track of like my symptoms in my notes because I don't want to forget to share anything. But yeah, it's a Saturday right now. I'm gonna film like a weekly or every few weeks update. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do this, but okay. So this was week 4. This was when I found out I was pregnant. I don't know if it's weird, but I kept all of my pregnancy tests in here. It was so funny for the first, like, even the whole week, even sometimes now, but at first we had them on the counter. Like every day we would add the next one, and we would just go and look at it like all day, just to make sure the line didn't go away. We were constantly looking at it, and I even to this day, I pull it out, I'm like, are the lines still there? I'm sure I have my like progression picture here because I took a picture of that too. It's weird. It's such a weird feeling right now, because even though, like, I know I'm pregnant. Like, I know it. I see it. Like, there's this weird fear that it's just gonna go away. And I've been watching a lot of people who are also in their first trimester right now. And like, we are all just feeling like the same thing. We're all worried. We're all nervous. Like, the first trimester anxiety is super freaking real. So some of my symptoms from last week, week 4, it started immediately with the fatigue. So tired. I wake up and like I'm immediately tired. So on the days that I can take an afternoon nap, I've been taking an afternoon nap, and also like immediately energy drinks are gone. Like, I'm being very strict with the 200 milligrams of caffeine. For the last week and a half, I have like mild cramping on and off, nausea when I eat, and I'm way more hungry. Because of the gastric bypass, I can't eat a lot at a time, but like I'll eat and then like an hour later I'm hungry again. But then when I eat, I get nausea. So I don't get nausea like out of nowhere for no reason. It's just like I take a couple bites of food and I'm like, oh, I just started to get a wave of nausea. Vivid dreams has been huge, and like bad dreams, nightmares. I'm not a big nightmare person. I have vivid dreams often, but like they're more vivid than ever, and a lot of them are bad. Last week I was waking up in the middle of the night hot. That's stopped recently, but week 4 that happened a lot. Lightning crotch is very real. Last week and now week 5, lightning crotch, lightning booty hole. Just a little whoop, you're like, ow. Nasal congestion and sneezing. Yes, I have allergies, and it's like kind of allergy season right now, but like I've been taking the same allergy pill for like a couple months, and like it just the last few weeks has been horrible. I don't think it's the allergies. I think it's the pregnancy. Non-stop sneezing, non-stop nasal congestion. So those are all my symptoms. Week 4, a lot of them are similar to now week 5, except for waking up in the night hot. I'm also peeing a lot. Like, I thought that didn't happen until later when the baby starts to like push on your bladder. After doing research, I was like, am I the only one here who's peeing all the time? No, that starts like pretty quick. It starts pretty immediately for some people. Yeah, I find that I am peeing all the time. I don't think I'm drinking more water than usual because I always kind of drink a lot of water. That Stanley Cup keeps me hydrated. Yeah, a lot of peeing. So those are my current symptoms. I also bought this Amazon pregnancy journal, which has been fantastic because I wanted to like really get the right one, and I love this. I have been like writing down just all my thoughts and stuff. It has week by week. It has spots to show your ultrasounds and pictures and just so many great memories like for the baby to read one day. Like, I would love if my mom had something like this and I could read it, you know? So I think this will be a great memory for me and the child and Yar. Yar is so excited. I'm so excited. Granted, we do have anxiety because it is still very early. We have our 8-week appointment in a few weeks. So obviously I'll vlog that too, and that'll be included in this vlog. We're just kicking off the first trimester. Sorry this clip was really long. It's kind of like an introduction to this, but I will check back in at some point over the next few weeks and keep you guys posted. All right, another check-in, you guys. Tomorrow I am 7 weeks. I won't lie, I'm not doing well right now. Not only is this all happening in general, but then on top of it, like, I'm filming the show in a few days. So things are like severely hectic right now, and my mental health is not the best. So the day before yesterday, for the first time, I had vomiting, which obviously I expect. I've been kind of waiting to see if nausea would start. We went to hibachi with our friends, and I literally had like maybe 4 or 5 bites. Like, my plate looked full. My stomach just did not agree with it. I was like just sitting there and I was like, I think I'm gonna throw up. And I ended up throwing up in the bathroom. We had to stop on the way home, throw up more at home. Like, every last drop of that little bit of hibachi I ate, like, the baby did not agree with. My stomach just did not like it at all. That was interesting. You know, that's never really happened before, so that was, you know, new and different. And then the next morning, when I went to the bathroom, I had some pink when I wiped. Nothing that accumulated, you know, in my underwear or anything like that, but when I wiped, I had some light pink spotting. And I think it's fair to say a lot of us in our first trimester are just constantly petrified every time you wipe. Like, that first trimester anxiety of like blood is so real. It's funny because you get pregnant and you're so excited, but after that, it's honestly just so anxiety provoking. It's kind of like the worst because you're just so worried and you're just dying to get to that 12-week mark where you can feel a little bit more safe. So anyway, I had that one wipe, and you know, I did my Googling and all this stuff, and everyone's like, oh, that can be very normal, like very light pink, it's not a big deal. It didn't happen again for the rest of the day. I'm like, okay, cool. This morning I get up and I was kind of silly. I took another pregnancy test and the line was really faint. And I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? I hop on Google, and apparently when your HCG gets to a certain level of high, it won't register on a test anymore properly. It will show up as like a faint line. That's happened to a lot of people at like 6-7 weeks. So I'm like, okay, let's not panic. Then an hour later, I wipe again, and I had the same light pink as yesterday, but even a little bit more. That was like a few hours ago. I just peed again and there was nothing. So I don't know. I'm freaked out. I called the doctor just because, like, don't be afraid to call your doctor. You're not silly. Your feelings are valid. Called the doctor, and they just called me back a little while ago. And something interesting I didn't know, they told me, do you know your blood type? And I'm like, no, I should know my blood type. I'm sure it's written somewhere, but I'm like, I don't know. And she said something about how if me and the baby are a different blood type, or if I'm like an O negative, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. My head's in a whirlwind right now. That like there's a shot or something I have to get to protect the baby. And then they're also going to check for my HCG pregnancy hormone level right now. Make sure it's at a high number where it's supposed to be. And then they're also going to have me go back in 2 days and make sure it is doubling as it's supposed to. Just to be sure. Because my 8-week scan isn't for a week from tomorrow. And I don't know. This is what they wanted to do for today. So I'm currently driving to the lab. I hate getting my blood drawn. I know this is going to be a lot of blood drawing throughout pregnancy. So anyway, I made sure I ate. I've been drinking water, and I'm going to tell them, like, hi, I'm a fainter. Can I please lay down? I hate it. I feel like such a nuisance. I feel like just so embarrassed. I have fainted multiple times getting blood drawn. And you guys know the last time I had vlogged about it after. So yeah, not looking forward to it. And Yara's working, so he couldn't come with. He took off time to go with me to my 8-week scan next week, and I pray to God that we still have the 8-week scan next week, because it really now depends on how my HCG comes back, how the hormones are. Hopefully they're high and doubling in 2 days like they're supposed to, so they're going to call me by the end of today and let me know what my HCG is at today and my blood type if I need to get that injection. So that's the update for now. I have a pit in my stomach and I've been crying. I don't know, I'm so nervous. Because, like, you know, 7 weeks tomorrow, like, every week that passes, you feel, like, a little bit more confident. And, like, I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, I feel like my symptoms are going away. My boobs aren't really sore anymore. Like, is it over? God, it's, like, the most painful, emotional feeling. Like, I'm freaking out. All right, I'm going to go get my blood drawn. I will let you guys know when I hear from the doctor, hopefully by the end of the day. All right, you guys, I am doing another check-in. It has been 2 days since I went and got my blood drawn in the last clip. It's been a very stressful, emotional couple of days. So when I got my blood drawn on Tuesday, I didn't hear until the next morning. And what happened was I ended up getting the results like sent to my portal before the nurse could call me back. So like I logged in to see the results, and it said my HCG was 468. Which seems pretty darn low for now being, when I got my blood drawn, I was 1 day away from being 7 weeks. Right now I'm 7 weeks in 1 day because it's been a couple days. And I was like, I saw that and I'm like, I started crying. I'm like, I think we're like, HCG's going down. I think we're, you know, losing the baby. I don't know what my HCG was before though. I don't know if it's continuously been slowly rising, but I know right now, like the average is like in the thousands. It's a lot higher, like a lot higher. So I was just really sad and crying and just feeling very hopeless about it. And then the doctor ended up calling me around like 11 a.m. a few hours later, and she was like, oh, she also got my blood type because we needed to know my blood type if I needed that like injection, if I was a negative and the baby was like, I don't know. That was a whole thing that kind of confused me, new information. But we didn't need to do that. My blood type was, didn't need to do that injection. And I was like, I saw my results. I saw my number was like pretty low. I'm a little bit freaked out by that. And she's like, don't be freaked out. The number just does say that you are pregnant. I guess anything over like 25 means you're pregnant. So like, I am in the 400s, but not where like it should be. So they're having me come back to test my blood at the same time today. So I'm going to go in a few hours at the same time. So 48 hours, like it should be doubling every few days. So now it's just waiting to see if my HCG still rises. I kind of fell down like the Google rabbit hole yesterday, and because like after talking to her, I felt a little bit more hopeful. She's like, you don't need to panic. Like this just says you're pregnant. We just need to check it again and make sure it's going up. So I don't know. Like I said, I fell down the Google rabbit hole. I saw a lot of people saying that like you can still have a healthy pregnancy with low HCG levels. That it can be different for different people. It really now depends if when I check it today, if the HCG is going down, which would mean that it could be an ectopic pregnancy, a future miscarriage. I'm not a doctor. This is just from my own research here. Please, I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. That's what I've been finding in my own research. So we're going to see what happens now. I haven't spotted in over 24 hours. I think the spotting I had would be like considered very normal. It never got like worse or dark. It was just a lot of light pink, probably like a total of 5 wipes over 36 hours. And it stopped, which is good. It could be the baby like nestling into my uterus or creating space or more implantation bleeding. It's a waiting game, and it's absolutely terrifying. And I think to myself, I'm like, what if like I had never called the doctor, and the spotting went away and I just assumed everything was fine. Like, and maybe everything is fine. Oh my gosh. But I'm trying not to get stressed out either. Like, Yar has been keeping me very calm. God bless him. Like, he's been so good. Like, he's just like, let's just stay calm. Let's stay positive. He's been great. I really am grateful to have him. And I start shooting the project tomorrow. And I worked all day yesterday. That kind of helped me like put it out of my mind and stay focused on something else. And like, if we lose this baby, I don't even know if I'm gonna put this out there. Like right now, it kind of just feels like an outlet to talk. I don't know. Hopefully this is just a blip in our journey and everything works out okay. But like my boobs are not sore at all, which just makes me feel like we're regressing. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like just preparing for the worst mentally. Mentally, I have to prepare for the worst. Like, or I'm just gonna completely fall apart, especially shooting the project tomorrow, so this is a scary time. Okay, you guys, I just got a call from my doctor this morning, and she wants me to come in for an ultrasound to make sure that the baby's not like in my fallopian tube or something. If it is, they're gonna have to give me something to dissolve the pregnancy. It was rough because I almost feel like I have a little bit of hope again, because she told me that like HCG doesn't mean everything, and that like there's been new studies where like it doesn't have to rise even 50%. I don't know. I do feel like a little bit crampy. I've had a little more spotting this morning. It's so on and off with the spotting, like for days. Like it comes and it goes. Like there's been a whole day where I didn't have any spotting, and then there's a little bit, and then there's none, and it's like, it's just what is going on, So I'm gonna go have an ultrasound for them to check my fallopian tubes. And then she's also sending me back to get my blood drawn again tomorrow to check the HCG again. So that's the update for now. This has been the most emotional week of my life. You guys, there's a baby. There's still a baby. So the baby is measuring at 6 weeks instead of the 7 I thought it was based on my last missed period. So I've already cried. Caught my breath. Apparently, maybe the HCG was lower because back when I got it measured, I was only at like 5.5 weeks. So it actually is kind of on par with that. And they were able to get a heartbeat, which was, it was low. It was only 69 beats per minute, but they said because it's so early, it's okay. And like right now, everything is okay, which is crazy. Guys, when she turned that monitor around and was like, there it is in your uterus, I was like, I started sobbing immediately. Sorry, my mom ended up calling me, but I started crying, and I wasn't even expecting to like get a picture printed out. I was expecting to go in. Like when I came in, she was like, so we're scanning to check for an ectopic pregnancy today. And I'm like, I guess. I have no idea what's going on. Baby's in there, but she's measuring. I call it a she. Be weird if it's a girl. I've been referring to her as she. It's in there. They are in there. And they are going to have me check my HCG again tomorrow. And then we're going to have another scan in a week to make sure the baby is growing. So, and I just have to let the doctor know if the spotting worsens. Of course, since I just had like an intravaginal ultrasound, I am a little crampy and bleeding just because of how they did the scan, but hopefully I don't bleed anymore, and hopefully the baby will continue to grow. And I'm cautiously optimistic. Me and Yara are cautiously optimistic, but this was the best news that it could have been. All right, it has been so long since I did my last update for this whole thing, and I've taken some time because it's been an absolute emotional roller coaster, and we've had so much going on even beyond this. The timing probably couldn't have been worse. But let me give you guys some updates. So I think the last clip I took was me excited because I had just gone to get my transvaginal ultrasound, and the embryo, I was still at the stage around 7 weeks where it's an embryo. It's not like a fetus, I think. I don't know. Was in my uterus because they were worried it was ectopic, like the embryo was outside of my uterus, since my HCG was so low. But, you know, they saw the embryo in my uterus and they were able to get a heartbeat. It was only 69 beats per minute, so they knew it was kind of low, but they weren't too worried because it was so early. And although my HCG was so low, you know, them finding the embryo in my uterus with a heartbeat, like, you know, they told me when I left, they were like, look, like for today, like you're okay. Like right now, everything's okay, you know? And my OBGYN, after she saw the scans, she called me and she was like, I've never seen an intrauterine pregnancy like this with HCG so low in the uterus. Like, I guess maybe if HCG is that low, it's typically ectopic, like the embryo is not in the right spots. But it's crazy. Like, that morning, they had squoze me in because that night we went to go shoot Curvy Connection. And I get to the house, I'm in pretty good spirits. I noticed though after the transvaginal ultrasound, because they get like all up in there, I was kind of bleeding. I was spotting the few days before, which could have been normal. But after that, I started bleeding more. And I called the doctor and they were like, it could just be from, you know, doing the scan. Could just be kind of irritated. And I kid you not, an hour before everyone showed up to the house to start shooting, I sat down on the toilet and I stood up and I Oh, wow. You think, I thought I processed it, but reliving it is a little, it's hard. Like this is like the one part that kind of haunts me a little bit. Like, you know, I knew I was bleeding a little bit, but I stood up and looked down and there was just like a ton of like tissue and like clots and like just a lot came out, and I like let out a scream, and like Yar was in the other room setting up, and he like ran into the room and was like, what? And they was like, oh my God. And it was just like a lot came out. We were like, that's not good. Like, there's no way that's good. Like, there's no way that that's not a problem. And it was just like the worst timing. Like, I was just horrified. We were both just freaking horrified. We took pictures of all of it to like show the doctor. And like, I just had to, like, literally, this was like probably less than an hour before people were coming. I just had to like shove it down and like just put it away, and like it was just the worst timing. I called the doctor and let them know, and they were like, it's not really typically good when that happens. Like, let me know if you bleed enough to pass through like, I think a panty liner or a pad. And then from that point on, for the next 5 days during shooting the show, I was just bleeding and cramping, and it was like just so painful. Like, emotionally and physically, like, those were the worst cramps I had ever felt. Like, it felt like a period times like 50. Like, and because of my gastric bypass, I can't take certain pain meds. Like, I was trying to take Tylenol, but like that was hardly helping. And like, thank God for the show, because honestly, I was running on adrenaline. I was focused on that when I was just trying to not think about what was going on. And it was so busy and so chaotic of a week. Like, as hard as that was, it was for the best, because it kept me not thinking about it. Because I think otherwise I would have been in bed just sobbing, because that false hope of that morning getting, you know, that picture, like when I went to get the ultrasound and she turned the screen to me and she's like, there it is, it's in your uterus. I just started sobbing. So I was like, oh my God, I was so scared that I was having, I think it's like so sad, but like beautiful. Like, I got to like see it right before it went away, like hours before it just like went away. And every time I think it's been over a week now, and every time I think I've processed it, when I talk about it, it feels like it's all happening all over again. And it's like a little bit traumatic. Like, this is my first pregnancy, and oh my God, it was a lot. It was just a lot to have that little bit of hope that like, hey, it's in there, it has a heartbeat, it's in your uterus. And then that night, just gone. And it's just so insane that can happen. And I know it happens every day to so many people, but wow, was it brutal. Brutal. We'd get home each night from shooting really late. Like, they were like 15, 16-hour days. And like, once the adrenaline wore off from like shooting the show, like the cramps were just brutal. I could barely stand up during the day sometimes. And then it's just a reminder of what's happening, and that like you're passing a pregnancy, and it's just like it's leaving you and you can't do anything about it. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. Like, when we finished shooting the show, and again, all that adrenaline's gone, all the, you know, the hecticness is gone. Like, we just sat down, and like, I just felt this pit in my stomach, and it was like a hole I've never felt before. Oh, after we finished the show, the day we finished, they got me in for an ultrasound again, just to make sure, like, that it was a miscarriage and that it was gone. And so she's doing the scan, and she's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like, there's nothing in the uterus now. It looks like you've passed everything, but we'll have the doctor look over the scans and call you and let you know if like we need to do a D&C or give you medicine to help pass anything. And they ended up calling me a few hours later, and I mean, a silver lining, I guess, is that I did pass everything on my own. So I didn't need medicine or to do like a procedure to have anything like removed, anything left over from the pregnancy. So, you know, I love my OBGYN. Like, I love that office. They're so sweet. They were like, please no, you know, you didn't do anything wrong. 1 in 3 women will experience a miscarriage in their life. And I'm sorry this was your first pregnancy. I don't want to say that you can't 100% rely on this, but like there's a really solid chance this won't happen next time you get pregnant. Like, it's a very small percentage. But like you can start trying again once you get your period next month. They were like, if you get pregnant before then, just call us and let us know, because like you will ovulate before then, but you just don't know. Like, I got cleared to, you know, keep trying. But the only another silver lining that I find that I try to really find a lot of peace in right now is that I can get pregnant. I did get pregnant, and I know my time will come when it's time, and I'm just trying to remain positive the best I can right now. You know, Yar has been my freaking rock. I am so grateful for him. Like, I just probably once a day and every time I think I've processed it, but like once a day I pretty much have like a little breakdown about it, just cry, and he just lets me cry and he just holds me. And having a partner that's so supportive through this has been like just so helpful. I can't imagine going through this alone, but you know, it's hard. I have all my pregnancy tests, I have my scan. Like, I don't want to get rid of it. I'm just gonna tuck it away and save it. And I don't think I'm gonna post this until, you know, maybe until we get pregnant again and we're far along. I don't know when I'm gonna post this. I know in my heart I think I do want to post this so women cannot feel so alone if you're going through it, because gosh, it is such an isolating feeling. It is so lonely, and like having to put on a brave face right now during shooting Curvy Connection, and just like trying to vlog my life, because like, you know, I can't really just stop working. Like, you know, and it's also not good for me to just stop working. I think I would just kind of drown in it. I'm actually really grateful to keep working and distracting myself. I'm giving myself time to grieve and time to cry and process, but like, you know, then I'm like, okay, I took time to grieve. Let's try to just go on with our day now. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. So I'm not pregnant anymore. If you're going through this, or you've been through it, or you're scared of going through it, you're not alone. And that's the worst part of it. I feel like no one talks about miscarriages, but after I've talked to so many people in my personal life, like more people than not people I know have had miscarriages, and sometimes more than one. So it's so common. There's nothing wrong with you. So many people have miscarriages, and people that I've known that I didn't even know. I didn't know my mom. Like, so many people. It's just so much more common than I think all of us know, and that's why I just feel it in my gut that I want to talk about it. A part of me wanted to wait and share it when we got pregnant again, and like wait until I was out of the first trimester with my next pregnancy. It's hard because I just want to be pregnant again so badly. Those few weeks that I knew I was pregnant were so joyous and so thrilling. And after trying for, I don't know, how many months was it? Like 6 or 7 months. It was just so exciting and so thrilling. And like, I had a taste. Yarman and I were looking at baby names and watching videos and looking at strollers, and it's to have that dream ripped away from you is paralyzing. The best way I can put it. It stops you in your tracks, and I am grateful that I had the show because it was a massive distraction. I don't know how I would have coped without it. Like, as hard as it was that it happened right during filming the show, it helped me so much because I didn't have a chance to really think about it But then we'd come home at night and I would just like, all the adrenaline would wear off, and between like the cramping, the physical and emotional pain was like just absolutely brutal. But it was a lot. After the show, I kind of threw myself into editing, and that's kind of why the show came out so fast. I just threw myself into it. After I was done editing the show, then it was just kind of like waiting for it to go live. Like the show has just been overall a big distraction for me. But since it's all kind of come down and the show's over, I noticed I've been left to kind of feel my emotions, and like every other part of my life is so fulfilled and happy, and like I'm so grateful for my husband and my home and my job and my sweet dog, my relationship with my mom and my family. Like I have all these beautiful things to be grateful for that I am so grateful for. But that taste of starting the family I have yearned for so long now, part of me wishes I never had the taste, but then I also am like so grateful to know that I can get pregnant. And part of me feels like God told me, hey, like, don't worry, I'm just me letting you know you can get pregnant. It's gonna happen in time. Oh my gosh, and that leads me to my next thing that I wanted to talk about. I've been waiting to share this because I couldn't. The psychic date on Curvy Connection, when Jules and Luis went to take a walk, they wanted to walk privately, so I asked her. I felt pulled, and that's why I feel like my intuition is just like stronger than ever lately. I felt pulled to ask her, do you have time for a reading for me while I take their walk? And she was like, yes, come sit down. I sat down, and she says to me, so why are you scared you can't have children? And no one knew. Like, only people who knew about the miscarriage was my doctor, Yar, and my mom. And I was just like, come again? She hit the nail on the head with everything. And whether you believe in psychics or not, or like, that's all good. I was just like, wow. She affirmed me in so many ways, and told me that my calling was motherhood, and that I was gonna have 2 healthy babies with no issue down the road, and that my time was coming. Whoop. It was such a God-given moment. I needed her in that moment, and I'm so glad that I felt called to ask her if she had time for a reading, because that was healing. I needed that in that moment so badly. And it just felt like I got to talk to God through her, and it was beautiful. I can't wait. I can't wait to be a mom. And I know my time is coming. Whew. If you have been through a miscarriage, like, it's pain that you'll never be able to describe. But you're not alone, and that's why I just had to make this video. You're not alone. So many of us. And if you know someone who's had a miscarriage, check on them, because it's really lonely. But like, there's not so much you can say. All right, I just took a minute to refresh. I haven't cried about it in a minute, so I kind of try to push it down a lot, which I know is probably not good. But I just feel like I want to not feel like this anymore. I don't want to feel the pain of it. It's like I'll be going through my day kind of forgetting that it happened and just living my life and feeling good, and then it hits me like a friggin' wave of just like just a wave of sadness that I just try to feel and let go of. I let myself feel it for a little bit, and then I try to move on and distract myself. So many feelings. You never think it's gonna happen to you, but it's like it was a huge fear of mine. I remember Googling constantly, like, what's my percentage of a miscarriage at this week, and I was like counting it down. And when I was at like 6.5 weeks, I was like, oh, I'm getting close to 7 weeks. My percentage, I can't remember it, but it's only going to be this much % of a chance of a miscarriage, because I was just so petrified of a miscarriage. And then I start to like spiral and I'm like, did you manifest a miscarriage? And then I'm like, you can't control that, you need to calm down. And then I talked to my doctor and I'm like, did I do something wrong? And I told her, I was like, should I not have drink coffee at all? And she's like, no, you were allowed to drink coffee. Did you stay under 200 milligrams? And I'm like, yes, I stayed under it. I'm like, did I work out too hard? She's like, no, you've been working out for a long time. You're fine to work out. Like, just, there were so many different things I went through in my head. I'm like, did I f this up? Did I do this? And then like, there's this guilt and this blame. No matter how many times people tell you you didn't do anything wrong, no matter how many times people say, don't worry, you'll get pregnant again. It's just, it sucks because no one can really say anything to fix it. It just takes lots of tears and time to get through it. I'm putting out this video, like I said, just so you know, if you've been through it, you're not alone. And I know the pain you're feeling. It sucks. Whatever journey you're on with your fertility journey, I love you so much and you are so strong, and I'm sending you all my love. And please know, just please know you're not alone. And if you want to share your story in the comments as a release, if you want to talk amongst each other in the comments, to vent, to support each other, I highly encourage it. Keep it positive, spread love amongst each other. All right, you guys, that's it. That's it for me. I don't know how to end this, but I love you.